and welcome back to another episode of Multifamily Report. I'm your host, Travis Watts. This is market news, industry insights for you, the multifamily investor. And in today's episode, we are talking about the 4 phases to the multifamily market cycle. And no matter what we're talking about as far as asset classes, whether we're talking about stocks, bonds, oil, commodities, gold, silver, cryptocurrency, a lot of assets have market cycles. So in this episode, we are tuning in specifically, we're going to cover in detail all 4 phases as it pertains to multifamily apartments. And there's 2 things to keep in mind before we get rocking and rolling here in this episode. One is that there's opportunities to be had at every phase of the market cycle. The second thing to keep in mind is that depending on the market that we're talking about, the market cycles occur at different points in time. So it's not like all real estate or all multifamily goes up and goes down at the exact same time. It's market dependent. So without further ado, the 4 phases to the market cycle as it pertains to multifamily apartments are recession, recovery, expansion, and hypersupply. As you get to hypersupply, the next stage reverts back to recession. And these phases can take years to play out. They can even take decades to play out, depending on what market we're talking about. So let's take a deep dive in. We'll start out with recession. An example of a market in the recession phase today could be, for example purposes, Oakland, California. And the factors that help you determine whether or not it's actually in the recession phase are usually the following. Number 1 is increasing vacancy. So that's less units being rented, moderate to low new construction, low absorption rate. So the units available are not getting filled up at a high rate, low to negative employment growth, and low to negative rent growth are just a few to consider. In the recovery phase, you often see decreasing vacancy, low new construction, moderate absorption rates, low to moderate employment growth, slow but uptrending rental growth. And an example of a market in recovery today could be Seattle, Washington. In the expansion phase, you'll usually see decreasing vacancy, moderate to high new construction, high absorption rates, moderate to high employment growth, medium to high rental rate growth. And an example of a market in expansion today could be Orlando, Florida. And finally, that brings us to the hypersupply phase, which is commonly defined as increasing vacancy rates, moderate to high new construction, low to negative absorption rates, moderate to low employment growth, medium to low rental rate growth. And an example of a market in hypersupply today could be Denver, Colorado. As mentioned previously, there are opportunities in each phase of the market cycle. For example, in a recession, you may be able to get larger discounts when purchasing multifamily properties. And so you may want to hold through the recovery and expansion phases in a business plan. In recovery phase, you may be able to pick up a property and ride the wave. So it's a market that's starting to find its ground again. Maybe it's got good net absorption. Maybe it has new jobs and employment. Maybe it's just simply migration trends and it's where people are moving. So it's setting the foundation for eventually getting into an expansion phase. There's many markets that are in the expansion phase today, and this could be a great opportunity in a business plan if you're looking to dive into a high growth market with strong fundamentals. In the hypersupply phase, although it may not be the most opportune time if you're looking to dive in and start bumping rents really high and get aggressive with a business plan, this is a phase that can be opportunistic if you're looking to hold for the long term in markets that historically perform well. Another example of a market in hypersupply could be San Francisco, California. I hope you found this information to be helpful. One thing to keep in mind as an investor, you want to look at the particular market at hand and what phase of the cycle it's currently in or about to go in. And you want to compare that against the business plan that you're looking to execute or that the general partnership is looking to execute if you're going to be a limited partner in the deal. Again, you may not want to get into a market that's in hyper supply if you've got a really short-term business plan, because you might be selling in a recessionary period. You may look to invest instead in a recession or recovery phase with the intent to sell into the expansion or hyper supply phase with a medium to longer term business plan. Something to think about. Everybody's different. Every deal is different. Please make sure that you do proper due diligence. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Multifamily Report. I'm your host, Travis Watts. If you ever have questions, want to take a deeper dive on this topic or any others on the channel, you can reach me at travis@ashcroftcapital.com. Have a great week, everyone.